Innovation in the workplace, keeping you and your workers' life open and alive. Innovation, how can we make it shine? It feels we live like in a world today where innovation is harder and harder to come by. It feels like ideas of new origin are not as common as they used to be. Feels like that in the movie industry and work industries and many places. It feels like creativity itself is dying and innovation itself is dying. People say, oh, the new iPhone is all the same, or oh, there's no original movies these days, or things of that kind of issue. But innovation does still exist, and we need to do our part to make sure it still grows and thrives and being the best we can creative within ourselves. And those that are around us, we need to push them to use their creative side as well, but also make them feel natural at the same time. And that's why I've compiled a list, and that list is 3 ways innovation can be seen with employees. And these 3 points I'd like to share with you today are: inspire others to voice their opinions in the workplace and give a sense of freedom, let us embrace the creative side that we all have, and to cross-pollinate and bring in new perspectives. So let's start off with inspiring others to voice their opinions in the workplace and give a sense of freedom. So let's talk about the hard truth about that. When it comes to sharing creativity to bring innovation into the workplace, it can be hard. We don't have that fear of sharing our ideas. I myself have had that many times in my classes or in my workplaces. Whenever I have a manager ask me for an idea or a teacher asks me for an idea, it can be daunting, and you don't want to speak up because you're worried about embarrassing yourself. And me, on the other hand, I'm kind of the person that raises my hand because I don't like the silence, and I just spout whatever creativity comes out of my mouth. And sometimes I speak out with confidence, like in my PR class or in my religion class, and I speak with like such eloquence. I feel like so confident. I feel like I'm getting completely what the teacher was asking for. And then the teacher kind of awkwardly replies with, yeah, that's one way you can see it, or oh yeah, that's a point, that's a good point. But they don't really say thank you for sharing your idea. And it makes you feel not as good. It makes you feel like, why don't I want to be creative? Why should I even try? It makes you feel kind of nervous, makes you feel like you shouldn't try. It feels like creativity is dead. It feels like what you feel like is new and embracive is not as embracive as it seems, and it can be a little bit hard to accept. But creativity isn't dead. In fact, creativity is widely needed and wanted, because there is this one other truth I'd like to share. Showing your creative side is something companies want. In fact, companies want their employees to show their creative sides more and more. In a study done by IBM, when the CEOs of multiple companies were asked what they want their employees to have most, 60% agreed they wanted them to have creativity. These were above other attributes such as integrity, global thinking, and influence. Think about that. Other aspects such as integrity, global thinking, and influence were second to creativity. Because without creativity, you aren't going to go and reach as far as you wish you would. And it's something that's always needed. There's always a new idea out there that needs to be reached, which is why I like to go into my next point. And we as employees and workers and students, we need to let us embrace our creative sides that we all have. Let us think of creativity on a daily basis. One man who I truly respect is Jerry Seinfeld. He's one of the most successful stand-up comedians of all time. When we think of Jerry Seinfeld, we think of him as, oh, he's so natural, he's so fluent, but he actually had a lot of trial and error when it came to it. I read a book of his called Is This Anything? And it's a book about him talking about his experience as a stand-up comedian and the issues that he had doing so. And one thing he did to help himself be the best stand-up comic he could be was he would write down in the yellow notepad every idea he had, even if it was good or if it wasn't good. He would write it down. And he'd share his ideas in stand-up and see what would bounce and what wouldn't bounce. And so like him, let's take those risks of creativity, even if they aren't all put together, and accept the help of others. That's what Jerry Seinfeld also did. He went to Larry David for advice and ways of how he can grow his comedy, and that's how he got the show Seinfeld. And that's how he was able to make observance of the simple things into an art of comedy. And let's thank those for speaking up, even if the idea wasn't all put together or a little disorganized, and help them revise their ideas. I was recently given the calling of a Sunday school teacher in my ward, and I'm very blessed for that opportunity because I feel so great planning the lesson out. And my favorite part is, what questions can I ask to help people speak up? Because I know everyone in my class has a story they can tell. And so every time I have someone speak up about my question, sometimes I'll be honest, it doesn't tie in the most part, but I'm discouraged enough for that. I encourage them for that. I admire them for that because it shows that though they don't know for sure what my answer is I'm looking for, they give it a shot. And I help let them know that if they may have been incorrect, I let them know that it's okay and that we all come across that and it's fine. We just need to be sure to make our best effort to keep on trying. And so whenever we're in a meeting and we feel like someone shares a creative idea, let's not shoot them down because that would discourage them from sharing further ideas. Let's acknowledge what they said, compliment them for their participation, and then see if maybe we can revise what they said. And then lastly, I think we need to cross-pollinate and bring in new perspectives. Cross-pollinate is a new term that's been used generally around the workplace, saying we need to bring in people from other experiences and other lifestyles to bring in those new perspectives. I mean, it's a big world out there. Think about it. The person who maybe serves a mission and he has, been an LDS member since the church began from his family genealogy and has the strongest testimony isn't going to be the same as the person who's recently converted or been a member for 3 years and still trying to figure things out. Everyone has different perspectives and we need to embrace those perspectives. We need to understand that with those perspectives that we need to hear their sides of the story, hear how they see things, and see how it can make us grow as people. And that'll help us think more creatively to think about others. Let us understand how we communicate, how we can communicate to those who we're trying to reach out to. That's what I always did as a missionary personally. I always say, let me understand your situation. Please tell me everything that's going on in your life. But not in an invasive way, but in a help me understand kind of way. And we need to embrace these perspectives from all age groups, races, and walks of life. I'm very thankful that my girlfriend is from the Philippines because she fills me in on how the simple necessities that we have in our lives are a blessing in the Philippines. Or I like talking to my grandmas, or I love talking to the elderly members of my home ward because they lived in an era that I never will be able to experience. And I always admire them for that. I have a friend who was in Vietnam. I had a friend who was in the 1950s traveling to America who loved Arizona because she stepped on the hot rocks after traveling in the car for over 25 hours from Louisiana. And I love hearing their perspectives because it lets me think of the creativity that I can create and share to others. It makes me think that I can be better for that. And so, in conclusion, I'd like to invite all of you to take these 3 things that I have shared with you. Embrace that companies are looking for creativity, and creativity is not dead. And that we need to be working on our creativity on a daily basis. And lastly, that we need to embrace other perspectives in life, because if we do so, it'll help us be more creative in ourselves. It'll help us be better people. It'll help us in understanding that, creativity is not easy to come by. That doesn't mean it's not attainable. It's just something we need to work on. And we need to understand that if we put in our effort, it will be recognized. And we shouldn't be afraid of the manager asking for ideas and we raise our hand and talk for 2 minutes and we get shot down. We shouldn't be afraid of that. We should be happy we tried. And so that's why we need to work on bringing innovation to the workplace. We need to have that courage of being creative. Thank you very much for letting me share my time with you. I hope this I hope this presentation has been very helpful to you.